Hello, all. Welcome to the fourth unit of Effective Technical Communication. And in the fourth unit, we will be dealing with manual writing. Now, as per your OU syllabus, you have three kinds of writing, three kinds of manual writing that is, first is user manual, product manual, and operations manual. Now, for your information, even though the syllabus actually mentions three kinds of manuals, but they are essentially one and the same. There is not much difference between or among these three. Okay. So with this, we begin with manual writing. Okay. Now, what is a manual, first of all? Now, of course, since we are all living in the 21st century, you all were born in the era of computers and mobile phones. Basically, you were born in the era of technology. So, ever since your childhood, you have been, of course, you are familiar with what a manual is. And now that you are computer science students, of course, you are even more familiar with it, right? Now, our basic idea of a manual is that it is like a guide which helps you navigate through any electronic product that you have bought. Okay, now it can be a washing machine, it can be a laptop, it can be a mobile phone. Okay, so basically, a manual helps you in your operation or helps you operate these products because, of course, we are not, you know, I mean, we are not, I mean, we are not technically savvy in that way. Not everybody can be expected to be technically savvy, right? Or tech savvy people. Uh, of course, some people are, while some people are laymen who just need to know the basic operations of the product in order to go through their day to day life, in order to make ends meet in their day to day life. And that is why they need manuals, right? That is why they need a guide because if they get the product in their hand without any guidance, then of course it wouldn't be of much help. If you do not know how to navigate the product, how to operate the product, then what is the use of buying the product in the first place? What is the use of investing so much money in it in the first place, right? So that is the reason why we use manuals, and manuals are especially meant for lay people like us, laymen like us, who are not very tech savvy people. We need to know the basic operations. We need to know if you have bought a mobile phone, we need to know how to switch it on, switch it off. We need to know what to download from the Play Store, what not to download from the Play Store. And if there are troubleshooting problems, what are the basic things that you can do to, you know, uh, what are the basic things that you can do to solve the problem. So these are all, these are all the things that are listed and what are described in detail in any uh, manual. Okay, now let us go through what manual is. So a user manual is basically a guide or a technical document that is intended to instruct the users on how to use a specific product. Okay, uh, they are mainly written by product designers or technical writers. So, uh, technical writers are those writers who have a very sound knowledge of technology. They might be engineers themselves, and they should also, and they also engage in writing of sorts. So, basically, there are people who are good at writing, but also they are engineers. So, those are technical writers that you have. Okay. It basically aims to educate users and assist them in resolving any difficulties relating to the product. Okay. Now, of course, since we live in the age of multitude of products, since we are surrounded by advertisements of multitude of products around us, we know that the competition in the market is pretty tough, right? The competition in the market is pretty tough. And in the manual, the way you write the manual is the way you sell your product. The better your manual is, the better your product is. Now, suppose let us take an example of two companies. One is HP, one is Lenovo. Both of them have brought out released a new model of laptops. Okay, both of them have done it. Now, uh, of course, there is a tough competition, so they are giving a tough competition to each other as well. Now, suppose Lenovo has brought out a laptop which has got more features than HP, but the product manual that they have brought out is doesn't have much clarity. I mean, it is full. of technical words and jargons, and they are not even explained properly. While on the other hand, HP has brought out a laptop which is perhaps not as highly upgraded as Lenovo is, even though it is upgraded in terms of what they were previously. But maybe they are not as upgraded as Lenovo is. So what they do is that they, of course, we would expect in such a circumstance that Lenovo would sell better in the market, right? They would make more profit. But if we see that HP has brought out a user manual which has got more clarity and simplicity and which laymen can understand easily, then of course HP is going to sell better than Lenovo despite being not as upgraded as Lenovo is, right? So you see, in this way, user manual or manual in general, they, basically they help you in selling your product in a big way. Okay. But there is a difference. When you are writing a manual, you are not advertising the product. You are basically giving a guide as to how to use the product because the advertising is already done. The advertising is already done. The people have bought the product and now they need to know how to navigate through the product, how to operate the product. So you are not supposed to advertise in your manual. So this is an important distinction that you have to keep in mind. Okay. So let us come to the types of manual. So first is the user manual. The user manual basically helps the user or the customer operate a machine or an equipment. Product manual. The product manual basically gives a detailed description of the product and along with a picture of product and the labeled parts. And the first part of user manual, which is the basically the description of the product manual, is the product manual itself. So these two are interlinked, as I told you in the very beginning of the lecture. Then comes operation manual. So operation manual basically documents the standard approved procedures of operating various systems or equipments, guides the employees to perform required operations safely and effectively. It saves employees on relying too much on a particular staff member who generally performs a particular operation. So, operation manual is also something that you will be getting in the user manual itself, where you will be getting where you will be instructed on how to operate the manuals. All these things are included in one and the same document. So, one manual only has user manual, product manual, and operations manual. Okay. So, of course, user manual is extremely important for your business because uh, it basically saves time. It saves you the time because if you go through the manual you will be guided on how to use it. Limit legal liability. So basically you have to when you are writing a manual, there is a proper tag which a manual should have, and the tag should include the tag of the company showing that this belongs specifically to the company. And of course you have to maintain a brand image like I told you. So the better your manual is, the better the brand image is. The brand image is going to be improved in a better manner. And of course it is going to be helpful to engineers and developers. So suppose a new upgradation has been launched or a new upgradation has been thought about, so the engineer or the developer has to rely on the previous manual in order to do the development. Okay, because the development has to be done in comparison to what it was before, right? So yeah, that is there. So that is the reason why your manual is should be extremely important, and it should be extremely, it should have a proper clarity and simplicity, right? uh of course, some basic information are required to be included, like the reference information about the product, which is your product manual, directions and instructions, or step by step guidelines as to how to operate the product, information on getting started, how to start the product. Okay. And basically accustoming the customers to the product. Then you have the technical context. Okay. So uh, basically the physical or the chemical principles, like what your laptop or what your phone is made up of, so the hardware, so what the covering is made up of, and all of these things, even though it might not be of much use when you are actually operating it, but you need to know, because of course the safety measures are based on the physical aspects of your product. Okay. So that is there. Preventive information, so how to use the product with caution, and all of these things are required to be included. Okay. So basically, what is the process of writing a user manual? So the first is you have to plan the manual. You have to include, the second step includes the essential information that you have to include. The third is you have to describe the product maintenance, and the fourth is you have to write an understandable manual, which is a step by step instruction. Okay. So planning includes audience analysis, task analysis, labeling, and authorization requirements. So all these things are included in the planning stage. All right. Now, the second stage, which is including essential information, which will have basically your explanation of the product, which is your product manual, as I told you, the setup guidelines, uh, the logical arrangement of all the internal machinery, the present information about process and warnings, and of course product summary, which will of course product maintenance. Uh, all of these things are required to be included. Okay. So basically all of these things will be which are should be included in your manual. So there are certain guidelines as to how to write an user manual. Okay. So you have to you have to provide a real user manual with the product. You have to make sure that the instructions actually map onto the product in all respects. You have to include a one page start guide. Okay. And present the instructions in a step by step procedures. You have to avoid the marketing waffle. So all these things, these are the instructions that you have to follow, and these are properly given in the PDF, which will be shared with you. So you have to also create a first impression in your product, in your manual. So you have to use proper fonts. You have to provide lots of white space. Okay. You have to include helpline number. You have to use simple language, which is the most important. And of course, the content page should be extremely important, which will help you to do the product, findability. Okay. Then you have to give up step by step sequences in order, follow the timing and sequencing. Okay. You have to avoid lengthy paragraphs. Okay. All of these things you have to include in your product manual. Okay. Or your user manual. All right. So that's all about your manual writing. Okay. The detailed information is shared on the PDF. And of course, you will be getting questions on how to write a manual, and you will be asked to write a manual, during your examination. So please prepare well for it. Thank you, everybody.